Thank you for joining us here at the state capitol to raise awareness about the deadly and the costly consequences of distracted driving and discuss situations and solutions that we have that have shown to save lives. AAA was founded in 1902 as the American Automobile Association, and the first AAA club in Louisiana was established in 1914. We were created as an advocate for motorist rights, and safety was one of our main concerns, and it continues to this day. Throughout our 123-year history, AAA has pushed for a number of traffic safety laws. AAA advocated for the passage of the first rules requiring stop signs. We've required headlights on cars at night, and we have even advocated for driver's education. Today the evidence is clear. I mean, many of these laws were unpopular at the time, but lawmakers saw the importance of these laws, these traffic safety laws, and they enacted laws that were necessary to address growing public safety issues. Today the evidence is clear, crystal clear. Driving distracted is a major public safety issue. Nationally, 9 people a day are killed because of another driver's selfish decision to focus their attention elsewhere, usually their smartphone, instead of on the road ahead. We'll have people here talking today about having lost loved ones because of a distracted driver. This past fall, AAA Louisiana partnered with the DOTD's Destination Zero Deaths and a pilot program to encourage high school students to be a part of the solution by pledging to be attentive drivers and the Buckle Up, Phone Down High School Showdown. In just 9 schools in the pilot program, over 3,000 kids signed that pledge that every time they got behind the wheel, they would buckle up and they would put their phone down. We hope this new generation will be a part of the solution, but we still have to look at other solutions for this. So today, AAA is highlighting its commitment again to the Buckle Up, Phone Down, and we're also offering our commitment to finding new solutions. Our speakers today will highlight the consequences of driving distracted and address other solutions that we believe will save lives and reduce costs to our society. At this time, I call on Representative Brian Glorioso and Senator Patrick McMath to introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you so much for being here. I was honored this year to have Senator McMath come to me and ask to help carry this bill this year. It's something he's been working on for a very long time. We all know how dangerous distracted driving is. Most of us have experienced tragedies in our communities involving distracted drivers, and we're so honored to have the governor here supporting this mission to stop distracted driving in Louisiana.
Yeah. I've been at this for 6 years now, and this is an auto insurance issue as well, not just a safety issue. And I know that's the governor's #1 priority this session. When you reduce the number of accidents and you reduce the claims, you reduce premiums. 1 + 1 really does equal 2 in this instance. So happy to have the governor's support, happy to have Representative Glorioso's support, and with that, we'll turn it over to Governor Jeff Landry.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here today. I want to thank Don, Representative Brian Glorioso, Senator McMath, the Insurance Commissioner who's here as well, Sheriff Renee Thibodeau, Catherine Smith, who's working with AAA. You know, I'll tell you a little story. You know, Sharon and I have a son, JT. And when I first became the Attorney General, one of my dear friends became the sheriff in St. Martin Parish. And JT was getting to the point of where he was going to be able to drive. And so Beckett Brew gives me a book called A Deadly Wandering. And in that book is the story of a young man who had just completed high school, who killed 2 NASA engineers on a wandering road in Utah. And I've read that book several times, and what that book will tell you is that texting, the most dangerous thing that we can place in our children's hands, are those cell phones. It has been proven that those cell phones while driving is even more dangerous than drinking and driving. We don't want them drinking and driving, and we don't want them texting and driving. It has been something that I have been advocating. I give that book out to every one of my friends. And let me tell you this, what I did. Before my son was able to get his driver's license, he had to read that book and come to me and tell me what was in that book. That is how important I believe it is that we educate those who we place behind the wheels that those devices are dangerous to them. The people that are standing here today lost loved ones out of the reckless misunderstanding that you think that you can just pick up your phone and check a text or do a Snapchat or a little TikTok and it does not harm anyone. It just doesn't harm people, it kills people. And so it is with great pleasure that I stand here in support of House Bill 519. And I think that this, and I'll tell you something else. Last year, Forbes published 20 things that affect auto insurance rates in this country. This was on that list. By joining Texas and other states, this should absolutely help our Louisiana drivers save on their insurance premiums. So again, I really appreciate the insurance commissioner, the legislators that are here, and AAA for bringing this issue finally to this Capitol, and I look forward to signing that bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Our next speaker will be the Department of Insurance Commissioner, Tim Temple.
Thank you all. Good morning. Yes, like the governor and like Senator McMath and Representative Glorioso, I'm honored to be here in support of this bill. As you heard, if we can lower the frequency, if we can lower the number of claims that occur, then we can lower the cost of claims, and then we can lower premiums. And distracted driving is certainly one of those contributors. I can tell you last year I put 30,000 miles on my vehicle traveling the state of Louisiana, and it is obvious that distracted driving runs rampant in our state. So I think this is good legislation. I supported it last year. I'm looking forward to supporting it this year. And I'd also like to remind people that in addition to the legislation, we all can play a role. Not on the drivers today, but the drivers of tomorrow. Your kids watch what you do when you're driving the car. If they see you texting, they think it's okay to text. So we should all start today and pledge to set a good example for our kids that ride with us, for those others that ride with us, and not text while driving, whether we pass this law or not. So again, I'm proud to stand here in support of this, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Temple. You know, we talk about the law part of it, but also we need to think about and remember the victims part. And we would like to have our next speaker, Suzanne Salter. She lost her daughter to a distracted driver. Suzanne?
My name is Suzanne Salter, and on December the 26th, 2014, we lost our daughter. She was only 31 years old and was the mother of 3 children. One of them was only 2 years old. She was just going to pick up a sandwich that was only 2 miles away from her home when a teenage driver, that came and hit her from behind. Nicole is our daughter's name, and she was stopped with her blinkers on to make a left turn. And the girl that was driving said in her written police report that she didn't know she was driving in the left lane. She didn't know what she hit until she heard the thump. When the investigation was done, they found a long list of texts that she had. She was on the road for an hour or so, and I guess she was bored and wanted to keep busy. And this is what happens when you take your hands and your eyes off the road. Nicole was the mother of the 3, like I mentioned, and this has ripped us apart. It really has. You think it never is going to happen to you, but it does. Our family has been, of course, the baby doesn't remember her. The 8-year-old started slapping himself in the face. He didn't know how to cope. The 9-year-old started having anxiety attacks so bad that we had to call EMS a couple times. A 9-year-old that does this, a 8-year-old that's slapping himself, and my husband tried to commit suicide. People just don't realize that this can happen to them. And it's not going through it, as some people say. I'm sorry you're going through it. You don't get through this. It stays with you for the rest of your lives. That's that vacancy. It's the kids are now graduating from high school, going to their first prom, and she's not there. And it's a plea to please put the phones down. And I really appreciate all y'all and all the hard work that everyone has done in the future to try to get this passed. And thank you.
It's a beautiful story, Suzanne. Thank you. Just remember that in Louisiana, nearly a quarter of all fatalities, traffic fatalities, are caused by by a distracted driver. That's a quarter of all fatalities. But also, 4 out of 10 serious injuries are also caused by a distracted driver. And speaking on that point, we introduce Point Coupé Parish Sheriff Renee Thibodeau.
Good morning, and I want to thank AAA, the governor, and thank the senator and representative for having us here today. Just a few weeks ago, I had one of my deputies that got hit by a vehicle that was not paying any attention at all when we had the big fires on Highway 190 in Livonia. He's going through a life-changing event. Both of his legs have several operations. Everything was broken on one leg all the way up to his hip and his hip. Last week he had surgeries Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of last week. He had another surgery today to fix one of his shoulders. It's a miracle that he's alive. And this would be another tool to help law enforcement to make the highway safer. So I want to commend these people for putting forth a bill like this, and I want to wish everybody and tell everybody to please stay off of your phones. My deputy has a life-changing event. We are hopeful that he can walk again. Don't know what time frame that would be. That would be several months down the road. And again, it's going to be something that it's another tool to help law enforcement ensure that we have safe highways. So thank y'all for having me here.
The Louisiana Highway Safety Commission Director, Lisa Freeman, works tirelessly in spreading the word about distracted driving and has all the receipts for what it costs us in Louisiana to be distracted, to be on our phones. It's not without cost. It costs lives, and it costs financially a big cost to Louisiana. I'd like to introduce at this moment the Louisiana Highway Safety Commission Director, Lisa Freeman.
Good morning, everyone. What a pleasure it is to be with you all today. I'm Lisa Freeman. I'm Governor Landry's representative for highway safety for the state and the executive director of the Louisiana Highway Safety Commission. And as you've heard, we're gathered here today because the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has declared April as Distracted Driving Awareness Month, an entire month across the United States devoted to this topic because it hits every state really hard, and Louisiana is no exception. Distracted driving is a pervasive threat to our pedestrians, our bicyclists, our motorcyclists, and anyone who drives a car or rides in a car or truck in Louisiana. Part of an awareness campaign is to get folks invested, because we can't move the needle in traffic safety without help, without everyone having skin in the game. The AAA Foundation for Safety They know this, which is why they're hosting today's event. And it's clear that our governor and all the highway safety stakeholders present today and throughout Louisiana, we want better outcomes on our roadways. But we're here today not just to raise awareness, but to really change behavior. We really want to end distracted driving in Louisiana, and we really can accomplish that. As you've heard, we accomplish that goal with a multifaceted approach by laws that we pass and enforce, through engineering and road design improvements, and through education and persuasion. And often the problem doesn't seem as urgent as it is because the data that we have actually underestimates the problem. To a large extent, distracted driving is a self-reported offense, and because of that, the true measure of fatalities and injuries associated with inattentive driving is not completely known. But here's what we do know. In Louisiana, pedestrian and vulnerable road users account for 1 in 5 traffic fatalities. We know that drivers are not just using their smartphones to have conversations, as the governor indicated and as other members here indicated, but to play games, to watch video clips, and of course to text. We know that when you send or read a text message, you're taking your eyes off of the road for about 5 seconds. That's long enough to cover the length of a football field while driving at 55 miles per hour. That's basically driving blindfolded. Operating a 2-ton machine on a public thoroughfare while blindfolded is something that should alarm all of us. What's even more alarming are that the findings of the AAA Foundation when it comes to distracted driving. Drivers talking on a cell phone while driving are up to 4 times more likely to crash, and drivers who text are 8 times more likely to crash. There are actually studies that equate distracted driving with impaired driving, as the governor alluded to. The fact that these things are unfortunately happening on Louisiana roads is what's contributing to our fatal crash statistics and what's contributing to the economic crisis produced by those statistics. It's what's driving the serious injury stats, and it's also what's adding to the property damage losses that we see. We all understand habits are hard to break, especially ones that have been normalized. But the truth is, certain things should never be connected. Can you imagine a surgeon texting in the middle of an operation? Can you imagine a nuclear engineer watching video clips while trying to make reactor fuel calculations? Of course not. These scenarios are absurd because we know there are simply some activities which do not allow for room for disengagement and distraction. Driving is one of those. When we're in the driver's seat, our one and our only job is to safely operate a vehicle. And that job can be done without turning everyone's world upside down. Some solutions are as simple as pulling over to make that call or send that message, or even taking care of everything before you get on the road, much like a driver intending on consuming alcohol using a designated driver or ride share. Today's discussions about non-motorist fatalities and injuries should resonate with each and every one of us because we are all vested in this conversation. We all have skin in the game because we're all pedestrians at some point. And because we're all affected, we all have to do the heavy lift. We have to change behaviors. We have to make Louisiana roads safer for ourselves, for our families, our neighbors, and our friends. We can do that. We can do it. And this is the year to do it. Thank you for letting the Louisiana Highway Safety Commission be part of this ongoing movement for safety.
Thank you, Director Freeman. And now I'd like to introduce Dean Traschel. He's the Governmental Affairs for AAA.
Hello and good morning. I'm Dean Troxel, Governmental Affairs for AAA in Louisiana. Thank you all for being here. AAA would also like to thank Governor Landry and Commissioner Temple for making distracted driving legislation a priority this year. Current Louisiana law prohibits drivers from texting while driving, but there are enough loopholes in the law to make it virtually impossible to enforce. What's worse, drivers have become so casual with their smartphones that texting is the least of the problem. Today, drivers are using their cell phones as maps, to video chat, stream movies, check social media accounts, and even shop online. Data trends show us that current law is inadequate at saving lives, a fundamental goal to any traffic safety law. In Louisiana, nearly 1/4 of traffic deaths involve a distracted driver, and nearly 4 out of 10 crashes resulting in serious injuries involve a distracted driver. Nationally, 9 people a day are killed because of another driver's selfish choice to focus on their phones instead of the road ahead. And let's be clear, distracted driving crashes are 100% preventable. I think we can all acknowledge that simply passing a law is not going to eliminate all cell phone related crashes, but a hands-free law will finally give law enforcement agencies the necessary tools to enforce the anti-texting law that the Louisiana legislature originally passed in 2016. We're on the roads every day and we see the effects of cell phone use firsthand. We see drivers weaving in lanes with a cell phone in hand. We also see the unexplained crashes and think to ourselves, well, there's another person on their cell phone. This dangerous habit kills innocent Louisianians and is costing all of us in higher insurance costs. But for some of us, the impacts of distracted driving hit much closer to home in terms of death and permanent disabilities. AAA strongly encourages you to talk to your legislators and ask them to support passage of Representative Glorioso's and Senator McMath's hands-free legislation, House Bill 519. As a reminder, Louisiana already has a hands-free law in school zones. If we believe that hands-free zones make it safer for the schools, why wouldn't we want to make all of our roads safer for everyone, everywhere? Thank you.
Thank you all for coming, and thank you for our speakers. I appreciate it. From this point forward, this concludes the press conference, and if anyone is available for interviews, we certainly would welcome that. Thank you. For the press, we also have a truck at the Spanish Town Road that has a disabled car that was crashed by a distracted driver here in Louisiana.
I got it.